Good afternoon. Welcome to ATI ProMedia, doing some after hours content. Today we've got a fantastic guest. We've got Giovani Parzianello along with our head of research, Cesar Cruz. And so I'll go ahead and bring them on. And then let me get Cesar in here as well. Welcome, guys. Giovani, thanks so much for doing this. Super excited to hear about your perspective and everything going on with your family operation. So I'll give you a quick introduction, then I'd like to hear from yourself as well. But Giovani Parzianello, I apologize if I butcher your name, Director of Ag Operations for GMP Agro. It's his family's company. They are producers in Sorriso, Mato Grosso, Brazil, right? And Giovani, take it from there.
Yes. So, hey guys, I guess it's good evening already there.
Yes.
So yeah. So as Connor said, my name is Giovani Parzianello. I'm from Brazil. We farm here in Sorriso, in Mato Grosso state, which is about like the center of Brazil, and we have operations too in north of Brazil and south of Brazil. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and I hope to be helpful for you guys. And let's start.
Yeah, absolutely. First thing, Giovanni, I'd love to hear. We can look at the maps, that Mato Grosso region. They tell us, I think, Cesar, correct me if I'm wrong, around 45% finished with soybean harvest. And then is it 48% on that safrinha corn crop planting? What are you seeing on your family's operation? Are you guys in line with those, or is one a little bit heavier than the other?
Right. So this year was kind of unusual, if you can tell. We had a severe drought this year. Uh, in the month of December and November was really tough. So our soybean, not most of it, but like part of it, if you, I could say like about like 70% of our soybean was in a rough condition compared to the last year. And but we have about like 5 farms around the Sorriso city, and 3 of them were in not a good condition, if you can tell. And those farms we produce about like Cesar helped me with the numbers here, about 3,200 kilos. So you do the conversion, it's going to be like about like 52 or 50 bushels per acre,
Okay.
which is low compared to the last year. And the one that we are like harvesting right now, we are doing pretty good actually. But still, compared to the last year, like if you get the overall of the whole operation here in Mato Grosso, it's going to be like about like 10% lower than last year. Uh, which for us, compared to the other farmers in the region, it's good. Some of them were in a worse shape than us, but yeah, gladly we are producing that. And we are farmers. Sometimes we like to complain, but a year like that, yeah, when
Some
a year, yeah.
some things cross borders. Good
you
point.
know but
No,
like it's always rough. Like we put our money under the soil, and we hope for rain, and we have a lot of risk in our business. And but yeah, and going over the next crop. So if we only had one crop to be worried about, but we actually have two.
right.
So now we are planting corn. So the scenario right now, you're seeing about like 45% of the corn is already being planted.
Hmm.
We are about that number too. The hope for the corn production this year, it's still like a doubt, because as during the soy crop, we had a lot of unstable rain, if you can tell. If
Right.
it, like we had rain in a farm, and the other farm, like I don't know, like probably like 5 miles away, we didn't have rain. So it was kind of really unusual, this behave of climate this year. And we hope for the corn we don't have the same thing,
Right.
since like some people are saying the La Nina is about to start. And but still we still have like the whole corn crop ahead, and we are doing our part, which is harvest the soybean until the end of February and plant the corn right after it. So
Giovanni, I have a question for you about the corn planting. What is the ideal window for you guys to plant like corn now, the second corn crop?
right. So let me go a bit behind to explain how soybean works, and then we can talk about like corn, right? So
Perfect.
soybean window begins about like 15 September and goes in our region, right? And goes all the way about like September 30. This year, last year actually. So this season,
Mm-hmm.
we actually start to plant about October 12th, which is pretty late, and we went all the way to October 3rd, 30th of October, right? That means that the window of corn ends up like shorter than you usually have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the window of corn begins about like the beginning of January and goes all the way to end of February, right? So when you have a, let's say, a soybean planted about like October 30, and the cycle of the soybean is about like 115 days, you're already out of the window. So a few of farmers end up not choosing to do the second crop because of this window situation, and a few of others is gonna risk to go over the window, right? Which is not our case. So we, as I said, we had soybean planted in October 30, but we choose, luckily, if you can tell, we chose a soybean cycle shorter than usual because of this scenario. So we still are in the window of corn, uh, which is till February, end of February. So that's how it works. I don't know if I was clear or a bit confusion for you.
That's
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep.
No,
Yeah. So,
yeah, very
yeah.
clear.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah,
And just a reminder, kind of, that some producers in Mato Grosso, especially, they anticipated the planting season for to attend, especially cotton producers in Mato Grosso, 2 weeks, right, Giovanni? Beginning of
Right.
September. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the reason we start seeing very, very low yields for beans harvested in his region. They don't
Right.
plant cotton, but they still were affected by the drought and
Yeah.
the
We are
heat.
not.
Not
right.
only a drought, also they had heat.
Right. Yeah. We are not at the cotton business yet. We actually planning to start next year. And but yeah, so the cotton window is a bit different since the cotton needs a bit more water than corn. So the cotton window here begins about like end of December and goes all the way end of January. So basically, like in a poor way to say, if you plant like early, you're gonna harvest whatever like you faltou a palavra, targeting to produce whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your target yield. Yep.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, basically that. So we have this scenario where most of our corn it's gonna be inside of February, which is it's still a risk. It doesn't mean that those corn in February it's gonna produce as you expect, because the corn in the last 10 days of February would need like a rain in April, which sometimes doesn't happen.
Mhm.
So it's still like a risk business, like, so you need to pray for water every day. And but like if you can tell like in an historical climate behavior, we are inside of the window for corn yet, but
Yeah.
that's in our region the window is still fine. But if you go up north, it's in a different scenario. If you go like the east part of Mato Grosso, they are in a really like worse situation than us. They're not doing good up there, and south of Mato Grosso is pretty rough too, which is most of cotton farmers are. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So another question, I'm interrupting him again here. Like, I think we've talked about that before. You guys are planning on keeping the same acreage, same area for second corn crop that you had in mind before, you're planning before, intending, but apparently it's not the case for most of the producers in your region, right? You see like area reduction?
No, not really though. Like, like since everybody didn't, not everybody, but like I would say like I'm just throwing a number here, guys. About like 65% of the farmers you didn't go as they planned, but most of them are gonna bet in the second crop. So they're gonna go full throttle in the second crop. They had to, so.
Gotcha.
So they have to actually, yeah. So they still planning. Uh, so I don't see that in our region, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
Great.
Gotcha.
Maybe a few of them who planted after October, they
Mm-hmm.
might think twice if they're gonna plant or not. But that doesn't represent much. I mean, I would say like five, even less, like 3%.
Mm-hmm.
So, but still a number.
Right.
Uh, but the main doubt is if we're gonna receive the rain in April or not. If we don't, we are gonna have a rough situation in corn yield this year. So
Gotcha.
And so here's the location where headquarters of his company is. Connor is the main producing town in Brazil for corn and beans. So they are reference for corn and soybean production in the country.
right. So yeah. So we were like talking about like some numbers before, and our yield target here for soybean, it's gonna be about like 62 bushels per acre, and for corn is about like 138 bushels per acre. So it's
Gotcha.
compared to you guys. You guys do one crop, and you guys might be targeting more yield than us, but we get to do two crops. But still,
Right.
we have a lot of risk on,
Yeah.
on everything we do here.
You get to do two crops, but you also have expenses on two crops as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but six,
Yeah, even more than you guys. We have a lot of pests here, though. Like you guys get to spend more in herbicides than us, but
really
we have a lot of trouble with fungi and insects and all of the kind.
interesting. So,
Yeah.
Gio, you used a 62 as a budgeting number. Us in Central Illinois, 65 is a pretty common, right? Generally, the past couple of years have been good soybean yielding years to where we can hit that 75. The high water mark is kind of the 80 bushel per acre, but we're very in line with the soybean your soybean yield number. Corn 138 is a little low. What's the high water? If we have a great safrinha crop, can you look to hit 180 or is 200 the high water mark?
So the corns that I plant usually by the beginning of February or in January, I can reach those numbers maybe. Let me do a real a quick math here for you guys. So times 16, so about yeah, 180. Yeah, I've reached already those numbers, 180 bushels per acre once, not once, like
Gotcha.
a lot, many times. But like, so when I say those numbers to you guys, so in Mato Grosso we farm about like 15,000 hectares. So Cesar, do
Um,
so
35,000 acres.
right.
Have to convert that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good.
so so
So
you
you
do
guys are
that.
busy.
2.4. So yeah, about 36,000 acres. Yeah, in
Wow.
Mato Grosso. Yeah. So to reach like those type of yield in the whole area, it's kind of rough. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard. You have a lot of like different scenarios.
Right.
Different situation in each field. So our target's a bit lower compared to you guys, but still good for us.
Yeah.
So if you reach those numbers that I told you guys before, you are in really good shape. Like you
Gotcha.
can make some good profit out of it.
Gotcha. Gio, next, kicking it off the agronomy more to the marketing side. Could you talk a little bit about your personal sentiment on corn and soy prices in Brazil, and also in generally speaking, how is the Mato Grosso farmer feeling about this price slide? Are they hedged? Is it a lot of like soybeans being harvested? Are we seeing them move immediately, or are we look at putting them in storage and waiting for opportunities later?
So for us, so actually my brother is the one responsible for that part. So he's more into the financial
Okay.
and trade part of our business. But I still need to be part of it. It's
Yeah.
a family business, so everybody gets to know a bit of everything. So this year we had a different behavior than the last year. So we hedged most of our soybean crop back in November and December, which was a really good move. Uh,
Absolutely.
Looking for the scenario today. So we are kind
Absolutely.
of, yeah, we have this situation of yield production, but we are happy on the trade part. So that's upon my brother. That was a really good move from him. And for corn, we are actually most of our expectation of yield, it's open. So we have about like 5% of our corn of 2024 hedge. What's the peso of hedge, Cesar?
What is
Hedge,
that?
right?
Hedge, yeah.
Yeah,
Hedged, yeah.
right.
Yep, you're right. Yep.
And yeah, that's our scenario. But
So
that's for us. So most of the big farmers in our region did this move. When I say the big farmers, about like 30,000 acres above, but mainly about like, I don't know, like 55% of the farmers here didn't do this. So they are in a scenario where they have their whole crop in their hands, inside of storage, whatever, and they still need to deal with the yield production scenario, which was rough for them, and the price market too. So
yeah,
it's a tough year. It's a really tough year. Like years like that have make us stronger, and we have to learn from those years. So
yeah,
yeah,
very, very well put. I can speak from experience when we see yield slide, and the hope is if we have a reduction in yield, we can see the price react accordingly. But when that doesn't happen, talk about it's frustrating. And
it is.
then if we're unhedged, it's tough to make marketing decisions going forward.
Yeah, you
And
know.
larger producers in Mato Grosso corner, they can handle like they can have storage capacity. This is
Right.
not like reality. Giovanni can go over that for most of the producers, smaller producers in the region, and they do a lot of barter, right, Giovanni? How do
Yeah, we
you?
do. Yeah, we do. So we always like planning ahead, right? So most of the farmers are already like buying fertilizer and chemicals for the next season. So they use their corn or their soybeans of this year to pay for the next year. So they actually do barter, but still, like the exchange is not good. Like you have chemical price, it's already like down, but like the if you compare from the last years, it's still a not good exchange.
So,
So
question on the barter. So, when we're using this crop, is it truly an exchange of corn, soybeans for that fertilizer when you
yes.
say barter?
Yeah, you literally
Gotcha.
like so most of the farmers, they have their own storage or elevator, and they literally like sell their soybean in trade of a fertilizer or chemical. Usually for
Wow.
fertilizers, right?
So
Yeah.
it's very common for Brazilian producers corners to think of the trade ratio. Like they know
Right.
how much they have to produce, how many bags of beans or corn they have to produce to trade for
Yeah.
this amount of fertilizers, for example.
Yes. Yeah.
Also for like equipment, like for
Right. Yeah.
machinery. Yeah.
Yes. So, so,
Wow.
so most of the farmers do the math this way. We actually work more in USD, so we put everything in dollar and start from there and get the final price, the cost of our operation.
Wow. That's very interesting and that's a lot of what you've been saying. Incredibly similar to how we're going to see it in Central Illinois. But the barter, I can't imagine a guy going to our local implement dealership and just dropping off 50,000 bushel and buying a tractor.
They don't do that literally, but like they're actually going to the farmer's property and getting the soybean.
But I think it's an easy way for you to think of inflation, right? Because you know how
Right,
much your product is worth
right,
year
right.
after year.
It's easier to do that way,
Yeah.
and that goes for Texas too, So,
Hmm.
but like we do that a lot here in Brazil. We buy farmers using grains, so that's how it works,
Yeah.
And it's been working since forever,
Yeah, that's something that Brazilian producers they've been bringing with them since we had years of hyperinflation. That's the case of his dad, for example. 8% inflation in Brazil is not unusual. Well, it's becoming much unusual right now. Like Brazil is under 4% inflation rate.
Yeah,
So
but
when we had a high inflation rate here last year in the US, of course it hurts, but it's something Brazilian producers are more used to, so they know how to
right.
deal with that.
Right. Yeah. And Brazil. It's a really good country to make money, but you have some risks when you do it. So you need to be prepared, and that's what we do. To avoid inflation, to avoid over taxes, if you can tell, and yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. So my next question I have, harvesting the soybeans, either they're moving off the combine if you're putting it in storage. Where is your end destination? Are those going are they shipping east from Brazil, or is your end destination somewhere in Mato Grosso? How far is the logistics for your family's operation?
So in our farm here in middle of Mato Grosso, it's about like Cesar. You might have the miles there.
Hmm.
From Sorriso to Miritituba, which is in
Probably
Pará.
600-700 miles.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah,
So the
that's the
logistic here,
northern ports.
yeah,
I'm
the
gonna pull up,
logistic,
I'm gonna pull up a map of
right,
Brazil with Cerrito. So you're heading north.
Yep.
right.
So
So
he's talking about one of those rivers, the river right straight north of his hometown.
the,
Yep.
the one in top,
Hmm.
on the
Gotcha.
top, right? So can you see, yeah.
Pull it back up. Yep.
So actually, I can point out. So you guys see the two rivers up north,
Yes.
the
Yep.
big ones. So the one on the top, right?
That's
Yeah.
your end destination.
Yep.
That's one of the destination, and you can go south too, but it's way more expensive than going north,
Hmm.
right?
Gotcha.
So yeah, so logistic here in Brazil, it's tough, man. Like we pay a lot of on that, So when you get the base price of our crop, you get the CBOT, the Chicago price, minus the base, right? Which is
Mhm.
premium minus logistic and cost of transportation, whatever. Cesar, help me out here.
Hmm. Yeah, you're
Right.
right. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Just to let
Um,
something I didn't mention about Giovanni and his brother before, they both went to the University of Illinois.
Yeah.
Well,
which is
So
yeah. I greatly being from Illinois, I'm a big U of I sports fan. So
there you go.
that's
There you go.
amazing. Good. Your family did right avoiding Iowa State and Purdue. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. We,
on
we go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say on the trucking. So we're going 600-700 miles. Is that are you guys trucking it yourself, or
So
is the in
yeah.
destination sending trucks?
So we have a logistic company too. We have about like 35 trucks. Rodotrensazinha. It's gonna be like a 52,000 tons.
yeah,
So it's a big truck. Yeah,
it's a little bit more than a semi truck, if I'm not
Okay,
wrong here.
yeah, it's a big truck.
gotcha.
So, but we don't usually do that, but sometimes we do. So since we have our storage, we have a storage and elevator in our farms. We get to sell it FOB. So they are the ones responsible to go there and take the grain and transport whatever they want. So most of our crops goes to exportation. I would say like about like 15, even less percent goes to domestic market. So yeah, so we have the same players as you guys have there. ADM, Cargill, all those guys are down here, down here too. So yeah, and we have a few other players, Amagi, which is a local company, and they are doing pretty good too. So they do this whole process, but that comes with a price, as I was explaining. When you have Chicago price, you got the premium minus the transportation cost. The price ends up being not extremely lower than you guys, but like lower than you guys for sure.
Right. Right. Yeah, I
this
believe it.
this logistic price goes for us at the end.
Yeah.
So we don't have the same structure as you guys up there. You guys got I forgot the name of the river that
Mississippi
goes
River.
Mississippi River, right?
Yeah.
How I
And
forgot.
and
Mississippi.
a well-established rail network for moving
Right,
commodities
that's
as
true.
well.
That's
That's
true.
a
So,
big factor as well.
railroad, it's something that I don't know, honestly, like back in 60s 50s, Brazil had a huge program for that, and then end up dying, like I don't know, like because of Cezinha corruption from
Yep,
the last
probably.
decades. So most our I wouldn't say, I would say like everything Cezinha.
Is
Or
very, very limited. Some Brazil
yeah,
uses some of
so
the
so
railroad to
so
transport
yes,
iron ore, for example.
right. So about like 85% of, maybe like 90 something percent, goes from our farm to the port, throughout a pavement,
A truck, yeah.
roads, yeah, trucks,
Yeah,
right,
truck transportation is the main transportation system in
right.
Brazil are roads. Brazil is trying to improve railroads now. They have connected the north-south part of a railroad that goes from central to the northern part of Brazil. But they still have to connect that from the
That's a
central part
project.
of Brazil to
That's
where
an
he
old
lives,
project.
central
That's
Brazil.
that's that's an old project that
I've been
everybody
telling
hopes
people that
for.
unfortunately that's going to be resolved in our lifetime. Maybe
Yeah.
Giovanni's sons are going to see that happening in Brazil.
Yeah, hopefully. So you see, like to farm in Brazil, it's kind of hard, Like despite the fact that you are a farmer, that you already have bunch of risks, like climate risk, price risk. You still have to do with infrastructure, like, which is, we are not like supposed to be the ones worried about, the government are the ones responsible for it, but that's, we end up paying for this chaos, if you can tell, from our last governments and the one that we are having now, actually. So
Yeah, and to not only that, car, there is like
right,
diesel prices not very cheap in Brazil, and the
right.
road conditions they have
it's
improved
it's rough, but
from
it's
where he
still,
is, but
yeah.
it's still a long ways to. It's not anything similar to dirt roads that we have here in Illinois. They are
How
much
how
worse.
I how I miss the American roads. Yeah.
Well, Gio, this has been great. Hope we can do this again. I've got one final question. I'd
Yeah,
love
go
to hear,
ahead.
since you came back to work for your family's operation, or even before, what's the biggest change you've seen in the past 5-10 years in Brazilian agriculture?
Yield production, for sure. Yeah, like we are actually like learning how to produce day by day. Every year we are, a year like that, like it's something that you need to go through to learn. But we, compared to 10 years ago, we are in a really good shape. I like our family business. We doubled the size of our company in 10 less, even less 8 years, 10 years. So it's incredible. Like, you have opportunities here in Brazil, but you need to like learn and understand the hard part of it, and trying to go through every day, you know. So yeah, but yield production, it's been increasing, you know. And the tech too, you know, like we had a lot of new tech going to our farms over those last years, and that goes for genetics and machineries, all that, you know. And basically that, Connor, I don't know if I answered
No,
it properly. Yeah.
no, and answered it perfectly. Yeah, the yield has been, yeah, the genetics, and I can't imagine that train stopping. I bet if we had this conversation 5-10 years down the
Right.
road, maybe then your 138 average yield for corn, we might be talking about that 200, right?
Yeah, I hope to reach the number. I mean, not the whole farm, but like if I get like 25-30% out of it with 200 bushels per acre, I'm pretty
You'll feel
happy.
pretty good. Well, good
Cesar, we
deal.
like to tell that's the money that we used to go to the beach though. So
Yep. And
so,
we need to, I'd like to thank, before we end the conversation, this is carnival in Brazil and Giovani is working. So I'd like to thank you
there,
very much
so,
to be part of
so,
this.
so,
I know
so,
what
so
you're going to say.
that's a funny thing, you know. Like I gotta tell you guys. So Carnival, that's something from south of Brazil, like Rio, São Paulo. Here where we are, we don't celebrate Carnival. It's a normal week, you know. Everybody works, you know. We like to party when we end harvesting, you know. So for us,
Yeah.
there's no Carnival, you know. So we still
Yeah.
had to work, you know. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You're in the middle. Well, you're in the middle of planting and harvesting, so no time
right.
for the
So yeah,
for holidays or carnival.
I still have 15 rough days ahead.
Yeah.
But at the end, that's what we love to do, you know. So
Yeah.
that's I grew up doing that. So that's my dad's family since forever. So that's what we love to do, you know.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing this with us. Love to have you on again, especially maybe that post April where we know a little bit more about the safrinha corn crop yield. We can do this again.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for having me. I hope to have answered everything, and for sure we can do this later on. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. All right, everyone. Have a
All
good
right.
day.
All right, guys.
Bye.